Welcome back to 1023 Culture. We are back in Noctonic, and as you saw by my title screen right there, I kind of wanted to examine and talk about what I'm doing here because what I'm doing is walking every single day. Why am I doing it? Why do I walk? Um, and why do I walk in VR? I walk in VR because virtual reality is fun, but I mean, other than that, there's more to it than that, of course. But why am I walking, every single day for 30 minutes? And I'm typically doing it on a treadmill, as you see when I'm making the videos. Um, there's a few reasons. First off, I'm 53 years old, and I'm like 70 pounds overweight now. How did this happen? I mean, this is a creep that happens in our lives. And it usually starts when you're 40 or so. But when I was 40, I was working in a warehouse. I was one of the more productive guys in there. I was busy. I was lifting heavy things all day. I was doing it for 8 hours a day, probably actually and I was doing pretty good. I kept my body weight down a fair amount because of that. But since then, I actually advanced my career. I got out of the warehouse, and I would call that the downfall, but I was over 40 as well. And anybody that's over 40 will tell you that it gets harder to keep weight off at that stage of your life. So there's more than that just going on in my life, too. There's other things like my wife is confined to a wheelchair. She had a stroke right about just over 20 years ago now. And since then, she's confined to us. She's confined to a wheelchair, not by her own choice. She needs lots of help. It's 24/7 care for her. That limits me a little bit. And so it's not her fault. I don't blame her for this. It's just part of the reason and part of my reasoning in my life. And so also we tack onto that. The changing of jobs and the age progression, and then I quit drinking and I quit smoking. These are all contributing factors to weight gain and getting bigger, and causing me to look like the typical American obese person. I don't want to look like that. When I started my job, where I'm at in what was it, 2006. And I was 36 years old, and I was 185 pounds. I was in pretty decent shape for the most part, and my wife had her stroke already, so I had a caregiver for her, and I was able to get so I could get out and work and actually make something of a living. If you're in that situation, you kind of know what I'm talking about here. They don't make it easy for you to actually make a living. But I had had a caregiver for her for a long time. Somebody would come in the morning so I could go to work. Then I'd and be there all day for her, so that if something were to happen, or just to basically make sure she gets food, make sure she's clean, these things. And again, so I could get out and go to work. Okay. Otherwise, we would have been the typical destitute couple, because we would have been relying on her disability income, which is not very much. People who think that people are on disability just kind of have it easy for some reason. Trust me, you don't make much on disability. We would have been in all kinds of services and everything. I managed to keep us out of a lot of services because I was able to go to work. So that progressed for a period of time, and then in right around 2013, I started to advance in my career a little bit. Got out of the warehouse, moved into into a parts sales kind of thing. So I was a little less active. By this time, I quit. I quit smoking, and I quit and so, and I quit drinking at age 40. I quit drinking, and and then I quit smoking, and these things happen. And then I wasn't moving as much because I was at the parts counter. I wasn't pulling orders. I wasn't building things. I wasn't hustling around as much. I was doing kind of more of a sales thing. A few years later, I move up to the inside sales, the phone sales, where I'm accepting phone calls and kind of being a technical advisor for the customers, using my knowledge. And you don't move. You sit at a desk. You sit in a cubicle. occasionally have to go down to the warehouse and check things. Um, and that's kind of the thing that I've been doing, for some time, is a desk job. Uh, so then we tack on COVID happened. Okay, when COVID happened, not long after COVID happened, I ended up losing my caregiver, um, and it's very difficult to find somebody that you trust with a caregiver, because you're entrusting that person with really your most valuable asset, your spouse, and you're not going to just hand your spouse over to anybody. I mean, you're letting them be in your house. You have full access to all of your belongings, and you're entrusting them with the health and well-being of your spouse. So it was very difficult. Well, at one point in time, I was in a situation where I could start to work from home, and this is about halfway through COVID, and so I was actually fortunate about that, and I was able to stay at home. Well, now you tack on the other sedentary aspect of my life, and now my commutes, I don't even have to get up and get dressed necessarily. Sweatpants, t-shirt, and slippers are my work uniform now, and it has been for some time. Um, so these are the contributing factors. Uh, so this is why I need to walk. This is why how I gained 70 pounds, and all of these different things happened to me. Happened to me. That's almost like a victim mentality. It isn't. These are things that happen in life. These are the path that led me to being, 70 pounds overweight, to where I am today. So well, I've been watching other things happen in my life. My parents, I'm very blessed. My parents are still alive. However, my dad, who is 88 years old, is in very, very, very poor health. He is actually to the point we're putting him in hospice. And one of the things I know about my dad is he's always been this guy that's always doing things for other people, but he never did things for himself, and he never really took good care of himself. He quit smoking he smoked a pipe, and he smoked that pipe until he was 72. Basically, he quit smoking his pipe right around the time I quit smoking cigarettes. And he was not he was quasi physically active. He was doing things. He was doing woodworking stuff like that, helping out us kids with things, because both my sisters live in the area. And when we needed help, he was right there, Johnny on the spot, doing things. But he wasn't doing things that were good for his heart. Things like any cardiovascular workouts where you would actually elevate your heart rates, just excuse me, to get that taken care of. And this was kind of his downfall, is because this was like and I can't remember a time in my life where that was his focus. He always kind of considered he was never overweight, and I think he maxed out at around 185 pounds, which is where I was at, in 2006, 18 years ago. So but my dad now, because of that, he went through a triple bypass surgery, and he never got truly recovered from that. He has 50% blockage in his veins to this day, and mom's doing okay, but let's face it, she's 87. So there's a lot of people you look at when they're at that age, and it's like there's ones that can kind of keep going, they kind of keep trucking along right up to the end. Then there's ones that kind of fall apart, and my dad's at that fall apart one. I see that example in my life of this is something I have to consider. Tack on to that my dad's dad, my grandfather, who I never knew, he died at age 55 from a major cardiac arrest. My dad says, he was dead before he hit the ground, and he was 55 years old. And so I have a history thinking about it that way. And then we tack on the person. Now, I moved from the inside sales department to procurement, purchasing. And the reason I did that is the person who had the job before me was about 55, 56 years old. I'd have to check with somebody else. And he died. He was over 400 pounds, and yes, he died of a major cardiac arrest on a Friday. Friday night. He as I understand it, he was laying in his recliner and just having a tough time breathing. Couldn't seem to catch breath, so he laid down to try to get control of that, and he ended up dying from that. At 55, left behind two kids who were grown up, fortunately, an ex-wife. So these are the examples. So here I am. I'm in that same position, and my body weight's growing. I'm getting bigger, and I'm looking at, and it's like, dude, I don't want to be that guy either. So, there's why do I walk? I need that cardio. I need to lose that weight. I need to get my legs in better shape. I need to get some good lean muscle mass. That's going to help me. They say that when it's like the proverbial they, I'm not sure who they are. So I heard this, if you walk on a standard over 2 miles an hour, you are probably going to, at age in your 50s, you're going to do pretty good, for the next 30 years. And so that's kind of one of my goals, one of my motivations. I have these examples in my life. Do you have those examples in your life? Do you have somebody that you're looking at and saying, I want to be like that person and do what they did? Or do you have an example like I have where I don't want to end up in that situation? And I don't want to end up in that situation. My dad I love him dearly, but he's not happy. Okay. He's at the end of his life, and he's not happy. He's not comfortable. He can't walk more than 20 feet without wearing himself out. And so this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing to help stop that. And one of the reasons I'm putting this on here is, I'll tell you what, I started doing this walking and I knew I was doing the right thing. I had the kids at Christmas time. The kids are always asking, Dad, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm one of those guys. I kind of buy what I want when I need it, when I want to. I'm a little bit hard to buy for because of that. I don't have a lot. I jump from hobby to hobby a little bit, But when I open up into a new hobby, I just start into it. So I don't necessarily need things for that. So this was something Christmas. I was like, you know what? I need to do something about my weight. I was watching my dad deteriorate quickly, and I need to do something about this, and just to help keep from getting that. And so I told the kids, hey, I've got something I wanted for Christmas. All you kids can just go in on it. It's a little higher price than I usually go to do for Christmas, and it's a treadmill. And I want a treadmill so I can start walking. And they all went in on it together. It was my two boys and my daughter-in-law, and they got me this treadmill that I selected. I selected this for particular reasons. I wanted this particular one, and I started using it pretty quick. And then for a little bit, I was using it pretty consistently. Then for some reason, you know how it goes. You drop off. It's like, so why did I drop off? I really don't know. I don't know. It was one of those things that I'm the type of person that I'll be really gung ho for something, and then after a couple of weeks, I'll take a day off, and then I'll take another day off, and then maybe I'll do it a couple more times, a couple more days, and then I'll take another day off, and then from there on it's just a downhill slide. So you notice that I returned to it. I did return to it. And again, my dad is a very strong influence in this whole situation. And so he is, so I'm watching him deteriorate even further. He's to the point where I have to, when I take him, he can't drive anymore. So when I take him into a doctor's appointment, I have to go get a wheelchair for him because he can't walk all the way in there, and, so that's where we're at with him. And this is very hard to watch, very difficult to watch. If you've watched your parents deteriorate like this, it's just such a challenge. So that's really a lot of my motivation. And what I want to do is I want to make this kind of a journey. I want to take you along with me. Let's make this kind of come with me on this journey, because one of the things I looked at is I start, you do your Google research, right? You do your YouTube research, and I'm just like everybody else. I don't, I do a surface level research on a lot of things, never really diving deep. So I'm looking on YouTube, and because I can handle walking. I've never been able to handle running for some reason. I was able to run like when I was like 20 years old. Now if I tried running a few years ago, just some light jogging, and my hips would hurt so bad. My knees would hurt. Everything hurt after a quarter mile of a light jog. And it should have been a sign, right? So, but I can walk, and I can walk out every day, especially having a treadmill here in the house. So I don't have the excuse of rain. I have the motivation. I have the example of why I need to keep doing it. So I'm looking on YouTube, and I'm looking for walking, exercising, and walking to lose weight, and walking for health, and I'm finding a lot of things. But what I'm finding is, no offense, but it's a lot of women channels that are walking for exercise and for weight loss and for things like this. I was not seeing very many men's channels or men's examples because, let's face it, men's and women's bodies are very different. We react to things differently. So, I want to bring you along with this, because most of the men's channels, and I'm looking at YouTube right now, how much walking to get under 10% body fat? How much walking for 10% body fats? Walk your way to 10% body fats. Burn fat loss by walking fast. Those are the men's channels. Now, on the women's side, what you see is a lot of challenges. You see the 30-day challenge, the 90-day challenge, things like that. And, weight loss isn't, a challenge might get you started. Okay, if that works for you, great. God bless you, because a 30-day challenge is not, I have to have much further sight, because if I do a 30-day challenge, I don't know about you, but I'm going to do that 30 days. I'm going to high-five myself. Yeah, baby, you did a good job. And then I'm probably done walking for a while, or done with whatever it was that I was doing, whether it was walking, whether it was punching or whatever. So from my perspective, that's not going to be a good thing. So 30 days, great if that works for you. That is not an effective way for me personally. I need to take that long-term view of, I have to do this every day, because I'm not going to get to where I want to be in 30 days. Okay? My hypertension, I have a little bit of hypertension. I'm not even sure if I still have it, because I've been walking enough. Maybe it's reduced quite a bit, but maybe not. I really should get to the doctor and check it out. I want that hypertension under control. Walking is going to help that. I want my heart in better shape. Overall, walking is going to help that. My mental state actually has improved. I am no longer as agitated. I'm not as easily, angered, because of this. Sleep is still haphazard. I might go great for a while, but like last night, I didn't sleep for squat, but I've got a cold coming on too. So, and maybe this will help that cold from coming on so hard. But for my goals, I'm not very good at setting goals. Okay. And so I need to kind of set myself a goal yet of where I want to be, because I already knew that in 30 days, I wouldn't have any significant weight loss, if any at all. A lot of people, from what I saw, doing my YouTube research, excuse me, is that they would do 30 days and they would actually put on a pound or two. And the reason they do that is because they're working muscles, and they've gone from, a very sedentary lifestyle to working muscles routinely, and thus they'll develop some good lean muscle, which weighs more than fat. So I have to keep that in mind. My current and I'll be honest with you, I weighed myself the other day, yesterday, and I just bought a brand new scale because, what do you do? My 15-year-old one died finally, and right as I'm working on something new, and I was down to 254 pounds according to that. Down to, when I say down to, I mean I'm down to that from about 256, 257. So give me some advice as to how often I should weigh myself, just so you know. If you could help me out with that too, how often should I weigh myself? I'm thinking about once a week is really where I should be at. But the temptation to pull that thing out and weigh like every morning is there. But I got a decent one. It actually does a pretty good job of. I don't know how accurate it is. It's supposed to be accurate to within 0.2 pound. Then it's digital, of course, and then there's it has. If you step on it barefoot, and it'll actually settle. It'll actually measure your BMI and things like that. So you can tailor it to you a little bit. And right now, I'll double check it here while I'm talking. But it hooks up to an app on your phone. And I believe I was at about 35 BMI. My BMI was about a 35. So I'll be able to tell you. I should have had that up earlier, huh? So why am I using VR? I've been a VR enthusiast since 2021. It's one of those things that I turned to during COVID, during all the garbage happening there. Whether I agree with the choices that were made. My BMI is 36.6. So, what? It's an escape thing, yes. It's also, I've never been much of a gamer, but I find gaming in VR fun because, it's much more active. And you're using your hands instead of just using a controller. And so for people who don't like VR, good for you. That's between you and your choices. If you like PlayStation or console or hate gaming in general and think it's a complete waste of time, that's good for you. I'm not here for that part. Anything that's going to help me though with this progress. I like playing Beat Saber. I don't play it every day though. This Octonic, I don't even do this. I don't do Octonic every day. Octonic, although I do really like it, you'll find that in App Labs and SideQuest App Labs. I like it, and you can see in here it's kind of different environments you can choose from. And I'm going to keep posting off of this. One of the things about it is that the music is because I got copyright claims. The first, one of these first ones here, and I was, I ran through 4 songs. It was on the space mining one, and I ran through 4 different songs, and during all 4 songs, I got a copyright on every single one of those. And it was, so okay, well, I guess that's not so good. So now you see me doing it this way right now. The other aspect is I use a Quest 3. And the problem with the Quest 3 is, if you don't know, the microphone is crap. It's not so much, I think it's a firmware issue. I actually was talking all through this, but my voice is like at half level, and it's muffled, and you can't hear it very well. I don't know if there's I'm not sure what goes on with that, but they're supposed to be on the new update. You're supposed to be able to hook up like a lapel mic, a USB mic to it. I've got a lapel mic that's USB-C, so I could probably try hooking that up and doing my walk, and see if that works. That'd be great. I'd love to be able to talk because, when you do this, you're kind of inspired to talk. I'm surprised I'm able to babble on as much as I am today. But yeah, I don't do Octonic every single day. A lot of times I just kind of prop my phone up and I'll put on a YouTube video, and I'll walk for 30 minutes while watching my YouTube video that I put on. Hey, I think I babbled on for long enough. There's a few more minutes of this video. Please watch the rest of it here because I selected some lo-fi, copyright-free kind of stuff, because a lot of lo-fi is. And hopefully I don't get hit on it. But hey, if I do, I do. I don't make money on my YouTube channel anyway. But if you find some value in this, if you want to kind of join me, I'm thinking about, anywhere from once a week to once a month. If you've been following me before, I'm anything but consistent. But just doing different things. And I'm going to keep the walking going, and I'll keep you updated as to where I'm at. I'm not going to be doing any spectacular things but I'll tell you. I'm planning on doing, get my before picture here going pretty soon because I certainly haven't made a big change at this point. But yeah, I'm at what was it? I was at 254 yesterday morning, and the day before is in the afternoon, and I was showing 255.7. So, that's where I'm at on my weight, and I'm not sure that was in the afternoon as well. So, best time to weigh yourself is first thing in the morning, after all. So, please join me on this journey, and I'll keep you updated on it. We'll be doing some other stuff. I love doing VR on this channel. I have some other channels that I do other things on, and I'll introduce you to those over time. I have the Chillaxian, where I do things that are a little more relaxing. I have some videos to help you sleep on that, the Chillaxian. I also put some drone footage up there because I like to play with my drone, and I throw my drone footage up there. Sometimes I put in some music. Then I have Bible and Blues channel, which on that one I am watching. Current project on that is I'm reading from the Pirate Bible, and I'm reading passages from the Pirate Bible, and then I translate a study Bible into the study Bible study section into Pirate Speak. And I do that for because that's fun, and it's a great way for me personally to actually pick up and read a Bible far more often. And I encourage anybody, whether you're Christian or not. I mean, there's great wisdom in the Bible. There's going to be people that have problems with it. Congratulations, people have problems with everything. So I'm not too worried about that. We can talk about it if you want to discuss it. Hey, set up a time, we'll discuss it. But there's only a couple more minutes left of this, and I appreciate if you just kind of stick around to the end. I really appreciate if you're still here right now. I'm absolutely shocked and amazed that you're still here with me right now. So God bless. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.